Welcome to the 101 building. This is the Gigabyte suite, Computex 2013, where we've just launched our new 8 series board supporting Haswell on the socket 1150. We're launching approximately 40 boards of various chipsets and segments and price ranges, but today I think I'm just going to show you these two boards which I think are particularly interesting for you HEXUS viewers. So right here I have the Z87X-OC motherboard. And OC is in overclocking, and you can see it's got our signature orange OC theming. But right here in the corner, we've got a few technologies and features that you've probably never seen before. And these are all to do with, as you would expect, overclocking. As well as having CPU frequency adjustment here with the plus and minus and also gear buttons, we've also got a tag button, which allows you to automatically save the profile in your BIOS. We've also got here a trigger switch, which allows you to jump from a very low frequency up to your target frequency in an instant. While you're in the OS. Over here we've got 4 dip switches, one for each of the PCIe lanes, so that you can turn off any of the PCIe lanes at any time without having to physically remove the cards, which is especially useful if you have LN2 pots on those cards. Around the side here, you'll also notice this orange switch. This is the ignition switch. When you engage ignition mode, basically the board will boot up as per usual, except the CPU will be disengaged. There'll be no power to the CPU. This is useful for when you're using liquid nitrogen and you want to heat up your CPU in a cold bug situation. It's also useful if you want to test your water cooling apparatus or your setup without actually having to boot. When you disengage the ignition button over here, your PC will boot as normal. This is an 8-phase VRM. We're using power stage again, as we did with the high-end 7 series. We're also using these black capacitors, which are solid black capacitors rated for 10,000 hours at very high temperatures, so they're extremely durable. And around here, High Cookies even included 2 USB ports on the side, so that when your overclock is sitting on this side of the board, you don't have to reach around and kind of fumble in the dark with these USB ports right here. So that's the OC. The Z87X-OC motherboard. This guy, as you can see, is somewhat smaller. This is a 17 by 17 centimeter mini ITX board. This is the Z87N-WIFI. N is our nomenclature for mini ITX, which this form factor is. One interesting feature is, as you can see this here, we've got a mini PCIe module. This is an Intel mini PCIe module that supports wide die, or Intel's wireless display technology. So using you get your antenna attached here on the back, and you can basically broadcast whatever's on your PC display onto a TV or a high-definition monitor. You've also got dual Intel NICs here for dual Ethernet, which is also useful in home theater situations, as well as dual HDMI, which could be useful if you wanted to separate your video and your audio. You can use one HDMI for your display and also one HDMI for your audio. So thanks for joining us. This is 2 of the many of the 40 boards that we're launching this week at Computex 2013. And I hope you enjoyed taking a look.